Hey, this is Amber Narro on KSLU's Point of View. I am here today with Mark Verbois, who is with Leadership Tangipahoa, and also here to kind of represent his group that graduated last year.
Correct.
And tell us a little bit about what's going on this year. Welcome, Mark.
Welcome. I'm glad to be here. I'm happy to be here. Glad to come back to Southeastern as always. So
Absolutely. So you're a Southeastern grad.
I am.
And we were talking a little bit before the show that you were part of the first class of Southeastern Channel here on campus.
That's right. I graduated in 2006, and this was around that time, 2004, 2005. Took it as a class, and like I said, we did the big game. That was another Southeastern News channel. We did a couple of special event things. In fact, I got all the pictures, the posters hanging in my office at work. So It's always good to be back as a Mass Comm grad here at Southeastern.
Absolutely. Now, obviously, I graduated pre-Southeastern Channel from Southeastern. So I unfortunately didn't get that opportunity. But you were also in the class with, we were talking before, with Randy Russo.
Correct.
As well as Crystal Booth.
That's
and
right.
both of them have gone on to broadcast careers.
That's right.
Crystal Booth was with WWL, and you were saying that she is now a stay-at-home mom. And
Correct. I talk to her occasionally on Facebook, social media. She's doing great. She went on, she was a traffic girl at WWL, and
Right.
did a couple little pieces here and there, and left and went on and did some other stuff. And then, of course, Randy's at WDSU, still there, face of New Orleans, face of morning news in New Orleans, and excellent. And like I said, when you're on with people like that back in the day, they were flawless. Like, we'd have to do stuff 3 or 4 times, and especially those two, 1 or 2 takes and it was done.
Right,
Perfect.
right.
So-
And that's what I said. Today we're doing one.
That's
We're doing
right.
One.
That's
today.
right.
You got to go get kids.
That's right, I do.
So,
I do.
So tell me about that. Children, family,
Children.
what's going on with you?
Got a
now?
2-year-old, 4-year-old. Got married in 2011 with another Southeastern graduate, Brandy. At the time, she was Brandy Kroom. Now Brandy Kroom Verbois. But I got a 4-year-old Merritt and 2-year-old Marlo. They'll be 5 and 3 shortly. So
Fantastic. So you are a busy man running
I
around
am.
after those guys.
That alone takes a lot of time.
Yeah, mine are
So
on the other side of that. We've got graduates from college at this point. Isn't that crazy?
I'm working on trying to get mine into college now so I can get some more free time. But you know how that goes.
Let me tell you, 21 is the new 16, my friend.
Well-
I'm going to tell you right now.
Well, my 4-year-old thinks he's 16, so you know how that goes.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
All right, so we are here today to talk a little bit about Leadership Tangipahoa.
Yes.
So you were in last year's group.
That's
Tell
correct.
me by way of what?
So take a step back in around that time, 2004, 2006, I became part of the ladies top 28 at the time. It was the Sweet 16
Sure.
LHSAA girls state high school basketball tournament that was held here at Southeastern.
Were you a referee in that then?
I was not. I
Okay,
was
because
not.
we talked a little bit about that too, that you had done some refereeing in
I
some
had.
local bitty ball kinds of areas.
That's right. That went back to high school age
Mm-hmm.
and did high school basketball coaching, on the board, refereed. I've always loved sports and just being part of that. Kind of led me to the Southeastern Channel when I did that in the big game area.
Sure.
But that actually is where I started doing PA announcing, and I actually got to do it the ladies top 28, Sweet 16. Did a couple
Fancy.
Southeastern games back in the day. Claim to fame was I got to, by chance, I wasn't a baseball announcer, but they called and got to do the Wally Pontiff Classic when Southeastern played LSU at Zephyr Stadium. So it's been fun, and that's kind of led me into the ladies top 28, Sweet 16. It's changed names a couple times because they changed the format of the tournament. But became part of that just as a volunteer basis. There's a Hammond committee, local Hammond committee, that was overseeing our participation in the state basketball tournament. Being part of that, that's when I found out about Leadership Tangipahoa.
Sure.
Leadership Tangipahoa goes back to, I think, 1996. And just at the time, I just couldn't do it from time constraint because Leadership Tangipahoa does require you to do 1 day a month for about 10 months. There is some commitment, and there's things like coming to do radio and those kind of things. And at the time,
Yep, letter to the editor.
That's
all
right.
sorts. You guys also go to North Shore, and they're going to also be on Good Day.
Correct.
This time with
That's
the
right.
students here.
That's right.
So we're very excited to have you.
But
guys.
yeah, we
Thank
do
you.
have commitments. Like I said, we like to get our name out. We like to participate here on local, the local radios, KSLU, like I said, the Cajun 107.1s and Tangy 96.5, all that good stuff. But all that takes time commitment, and at the time, I just couldn't fit in my schedule. Well, I have a new job now, and I changed positions a few years ago, and they just allowed me to get back into doing that, and something I've always wanted to do. And honestly, I've done a lot of things all the way through high school, these type events and programs, and this has absolutely been probably one of my favorites.
Wonderful.
So-
Now, where are you working now? And we also realized before the show started that we had spent some time together at North Oaks,
Correct.
which I think a lot of people do.
Yes,
And
yes.
especially from Southeastern because they love Southeastern students.
That's correct.
So we absolutely love sending them fantastic communication folks, right?
Yes.
And you were in the OR at that
That's right.
time.
At one time in college, my mom's a long-time operating room nurse. She's ended her career, but she spent 20, 30 years in New Orleans, 20, 30 years at North Oaks. And at the time, I wanted to be a CRNA, but back then, Xavier was the only school in the state that really had the CRNN program, and they dropped the program. And I did nothing against this, and I hate to say it this way, but I didn't want to be just a nurse. That wasn't where my interest was, so I went back to communications. I started communications, went to nursing, went back to communication. But in that time period, I was at North Oaks in the operating room, and again, I loved that job. Got to see a lot, got to do a lot. Love North Oaks, and like you were saying, just to lead in the Leadership Tangipahoa side, Southeastern and North Oaks are two of the biggest employers in parish.
Absolutely. So where are you now, and what leads you to Leadership Tangipahoa?
So currently, I'm actually working outside of the parish, but and that's one of the things. Just not to get off on a tangent, but that's one of the things that when I talked to our parish president, Robbie Miller, I told him, I said, I wanted to see Tangipahoa grow and give us opportunities to have employment here inside the parish. So currently I work at a chemical plant. It's Rubicon. It's owned by Huntsman. We do our main go-to product is essentially like a Gorilla Glue type product.
Okay.
And we make the other parts.
Thank you for that.
Yes.
By the way.
Well, here's the side note. So
I'm clumsy.
We make a 2-part polymer, and we make the other part. We make part A, which is the Gorilla Glue MDI side, and we
Okay.
make the part B. When you combine them
Right.
together, depending on how you combine them together, it's everything from spray foam insulation, plastic dashboards, bowling balls, glue, anything and everything in between.
I'm familiar with the combining process. I've had to do that.
Yes.
Several
So
times.
that's currently where I'm working now. I was actually an outside operator now, working at track production for the plant in the office, they say. So kind of sitting behind a desk, tracking production for the plant. But I've always loved Tangipahoa Parish. I've always loved the local area, and that was my way to try to reacclimate myself on what's going on, how we run as a parish, things that are going on in the parish, and that's part of the reason I wanted to come back and do Leadership Tangipahoa. I try to get involved when I can in the community, and things like your Kiwanis and your JCs, unfortunately, I can't do because their meetings are usually lunch times, and of course, like I said, I work out of the parish. So this gave me an opportunity to be able to enjoy and get back in and do something. So
Very good. Now, when do they meet? When does Leadership
So Leadership Tangipahoa, if I'm not mistaken, I think it's the second Tuesday of every month. Like I said, we usually start, this month will be the first class, we call it, but it's outing, whatever you want to call it, will be this coming up this month, and it goes through, I think the last one is in April or May. It's whatever, 10 months from now.
Right.
So it's once a month, full day, like I said, second Tuesday of the month.
Now, you were in last year's class.
That's right.
Correct?
That's right.
So you're moving into kind of a service role.
Correct.
with Leadership
I'm now,
Tangipahoa.
we do a vote as a class representative, class president, whatever you want to call it, and that person gets to serve a 3-year term on the Leadership Tangipahoa board. And so I'll continue in the board capacity. Currently, I'm in charge of public relations, setting up things like this for the class. But that's kind of my role going forward will be on the board side.
So how often does the board meet?
Once a
then?
month as well.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
good. So when people are committing after Leadership Tangipahoa, and I'm assuming here without asking that you probably should have gone through the program before you're on the board. Correct?
There are a few, I think there's been times where just local leaders have, I say, fallen into a spot where we've had, normally this representative gets voted on and stays on the board. But there have been spots where somebody left the profession, moved out of state. In fact, we had an opening recently. Nick Klesse, who was a former class member, was on the board, moved out of state.
know.
So he had an opening. So things like that will open up opportunities. But generally, most of the
Love
time, it's
Nick.
going to be all alumni. Nick's awesome.
He was the PR guy before you.
Correct,
And
correct.
he was, so I've gotten to kind of know him over the
Right.
last couple of years, and he's been sending
Yeah.
people, and I've interviewed him and things like that. I'm going to miss him. The area's
Yeah.
going to miss him.
Well, the word is he and his wife both. Abigail was on the class with me last year, and Nick was the class prior, and then of course Nick was on the board. Both of them are moving to Seattle to pursue just some. They wanted to get out and see the world before they had kids, and then their plan is to hopefully come back here and stay in the area.
yes.
So we'll be
come
glad
back
to
to
come
Hammond,
back.
America.
So, part
For
of Holly
sure.
and Smith Architects, for those who don't know. Two brilliant, wonderful people, and again, we're sad to see them leave for the area, and we'll be happy to have them back when they come back.
Absolutely. Now, like we said, last year you were in the group.
Correct.
What was your favorite part? Now that you've gotten to see all the months when you go and visit the parish and you visit nonprofits and you go and you look at the way things work and run and
Correct.
What's your favorite part?
It's kind of a toss-up, and we all kind of have this conversation. And those who don't know, the way we do it is every month it's a new theme, for lack of a better term. This first one's going to be parish government. There's one on municipalities, social services, education, the medical aspect, and then there's one called Hidden Treasures, and then we finalize at the state capitol and do state.
My favorite to listen to is Hidden Treasures.
That one is fun, and this one last year we had one of the businesses closed, so I'm curious to see who they're going to pop in there. And I don't want to spoil too much because it's kind of a fun day for the class, but it's things that locally we get to see. The Renaissance Fest was on there last year. Things like that you don't get to go to, or
Escape
don't think.
Room would be the one that must have closed.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes.
But that's how the program's kind of set up. For me, I love the parish government side and the municipality side because I kind of like the government side of things and learning. But the Hidden Treasures was wonderful. It's really hard to pinpoint. It's like saying which one of your kids you love more, but. Really, like I said, parish government really was one of my favorite ones. But because we do so many things in a day. So you may go to 4, 5, 6 different spots. We got to go to Elmer's. So eating free candy at Elmer's is hard sometimes compared to going to meet with the tax assessor. But
right.
Each day has different aspects, and it's just a fun day.
Very good.
What you pick. But I like the parish government side and the municipality side because I kind of like the government side. I will tell you one of the bigger surprises for me was the social services side. And we kind of do that around the Christmas holiday time, and it's a side that you don't always put a lot of thought into as a citizen. We all should put more thought into it, but it's things that you look at it from a different aspect than you would as just driving down the street.
Right.
What they do, what goes behind it, what's the work that goes into getting these services set up. I hate to say it all because I don't want to miss anything, but just like CASA. The local food bank,
options, senior citizens. Yes, I know exactly what you're talking about.
It's on the tip of my tongue.
Mine too. But
Council on Aging.
That's it.
Yes, but those are all social services that, again, I don't know that I'd ever see Council on Aging just as a regular Joe citizen unless I had a family member there or had something directly involved.
Your class adopted that. The
Correct.
Council on Aging and did some sort of fundraiser for them.
Well, we did. It literally was we had plans because we didn't really get to do a big group fundraiser, but we're still in the works of the class discussing it. But the kind of quick one we did, it was just this is how citizens work and how things. They said they needed some help with some exercise equipment, and literally all of us on the bus were like, "Why don't we do something?" Pulled it up, Googled it, and she told us which one she wanted, and it was like, "Oh, we can!" And everybody threw up $20. It was like that fast.
I was about to say, did y'all all say, yeah, I got one that I'm not using at the house too?
Well, a couple people did donate one trying to help them, but we were able to buy 2 bikes, and everybody just literally threw up $20, $30, whatever it was, and between the group, we were able to buy them.
Right.
So, and that's the kind of stuff like we, as a citizen, that you may not know that, one, they need help with anything, or how great their services are.
Right.
So, and again, when you hear social services, you think of people who lost jobs, they need... they're on hard times, and that's not always the case. Like I said, Council on Aging, they'll go pick up, people that may not have family in the area that can take them shopping, or they need somebody to go take them to the doctor's office, or just get out the house and do something. They're over there playing bingo. They'll do painting. Those are the kind of things that you don't think about, like I said, unless you're directly involved with that. So to get to see that side, it's wonderful.
Now, you mentioned something just a second ago where they said they needed this, and you guys were able to put some money together and get that for them.
Mm-hmm.
At Southeastern, one of the things that we're going to be doing very, very soon is the Southeastern Day of Giving,
Mm-hmm.
where everybody says, this is what we need. At KSLU, we're doing some more equipment for our student studio because we need another camera, and we need a couple of other things so that we're not moving things around so much. And the reason that I mention this is because I think a lot of nonprofits are kind of getting into this where they're asking for specific things, and these are tangible things that we can give to them and say, I made a huge difference at that moment.
Yep.
They said they needed some exercise equipment. We gave it to them, got it taken care of so that they could, so that their senior citizens could have a place to keep fit and to
well, we had talked about
health.
it, and that's what's great about social media sometimes is that, people talk about the negative side of social media and this and that, but when you say there's a need, sometimes that's an easy way to get the word out.
Absolutely.
We jokingly said, like, I wish I could put together a spreadsheet, like, And it's a lot of these, it's like this piece of exercise equipment. It may not be this $10,000 fundraiser where you got to put a wing on a building or something major, but that $200, $300 item, $500 item, or items could be a big impact on whatever services it's with. So it'd be great. I think so many times people just give this generic giving, or you drop the quarter in with Santa Claus going into the store. But like, if you say there's something tangible that you can give and you see a difference, there's a lot of that side that, like I said, we'd love to get the word out. Like I said, on where can we do something, where can we see some change? That's those type of opportunities.
Absolutely. Very good. Now, with Leadership Tangipahoa this year, and like you said, I don't want you to give away a whole lot, because, and that's one of the challenges when you guys come here, is that we don't want to spoil anything for this year's group, because that is that's part of the magic of being a part of Leadership Tangipahoa, is the shock and the surprise when you're walking into the Hammond Airport for the first time, and you've never been there before, and you've passed it a million times, but you don't realize how big it is until you go to the top of the tower, right?
Correct.
So,
there's a fun thing about the Leadership Tangipahoa side. One, a lot of people get confused too that it's a leadership class, and these are local leaders. Don't get me wrong, but it's not a class in how to be a leader. It's more of a there's a tangible, intangible group setting where people learn and bounce things off each other, and that's how they get some leadership aspect, I think, out of it. And then the knowledge side that a leader needs for where can we do these things on, like a social services, or where can I, if I need this done, where can I go, or if I need to help somebody else, where can I point them in the right direction? But when you look at it from that side, there's things in Leadership Tangipahoa that us as Joe Citizen can say, hey, whatever group you're going to, can you tell me about this, or can I see this? And generally, they're going to help you with that. But to put it all into one compact, concise event program, like we go for the parish government, we'll go and see Parish President Robbie Miller, some of the council, you'll see some of his staff. Then we'll bounce from there and go over to the tax assessor's office. We'll go to the registrar of voters. We'll go to clerk of court's office. Then we'll go to the EOC, like all within, a couple, 3-4 hours. Then we'll go out to the arena. And all that's compact, and you get to meet these people and learn things that it may, is like I said, Joe Citizen, I may have to talk to somebody, I may meet them next Tuesday, and then I may have to wait till October to go meet the next person, or to get down and research it. And all this is concise, and you get all that information all at once. And that's the kind of stuff, like I said, from leadership side, the knowledge of learning about new things, what can we do, where do we find this answer at? And some of these answers they tell you don't even know you're asking the question. And that's when you're saying that magic, that your eyes are like, wow, that's what's going on? Like, that's where the money's going, this is where it's come from. I'll tell you one thing, when you said this magic side, when you look at parish government, they look at the grants that we have, that we're getting from local municipalities, from some of the social service side. There's money coming in that they're using this money from grant side that we're not using taxpayer dollars. And when you're like, oh, that's how we got that, and we didn't have to pay for it, man, that's awesome. Absolutely. So that's the kind of stuff that you learn from a Leadership Tangipahoa side when you go through this program. So.
Right. And then you guys also go to the state capitol.
That's right. That's right.
You go and kind of hang out at the session a little bit and get acknowledged by your representatives. So
we got to meet this past time, and I love this kind of stuff from the history side. We met with Steve Pugh, who's our local state representative, recently retired. Nikki Muscarello, again, local from the area, showed us around the Capitol. We got to go to the chambers, got to stand at the booth, the main speaking chambers inside the House of Representatives at the state capitol. We got to see committee meetings, and this is all while it's in session. Got to go into the governor's office, and you get to have a frank conversation with the governor of Louisiana. Left there, went up to
who's also a local
Tangible Parish resident. Well, I guess he's not a resident now, but native.
We're gonna keep him.
Yeah, well, if he keeps sending us money like that, we'll keep him all we can.
Absolutely.
Then we also, like I said, go to the lieutenant governor's office and get to hang out with him. And these are the cool things about this. Like I said, when you get access to Joe Citizen, you get to have frank discussions with these people. Like, you're not going to go in and debate them per se, but you can have a conversation. Hey, what do you think about the outlook of this? Higher education funding. Hey, it's been cut for the last 8-10 years. Do you see any change next year because we have more money in the budget? those are the conversations they have. And generally,
Sure.
they're going to be frank with you, and they're going to tell you, hey, look, we want to do this, but I can, or yes, I see the need there, and we need to do more. Whatever it is, that's the conversation you get to have.
Absolutely. And one of the things that I like to tell my students is that you don't have to be a member of Leadership Tangipahoa to do this.
correct.
You get the right to go and speak with your representatives or to contact your representatives.
That's right.
By way of citizenship.
Correct, correct.
And it's awesome for them to go to the state capitol to see laws being made and discussed before they even hit the floor, so that they
Correct.
can see that that people do make a difference by going up and presenting testimony and sharing their experiences
Correct.
with
'Cause
something.
especially on the committee side, like you're saying, those are the people that are coming in and talk. Those are the ones that are heartfelt, have a big buy-in to whatever legislation's on the floor at the time, and they feel strongly one way or the other. And you're going to get to hear both sides. And again, it's everybody looks at it from the standpoint. You look through a glass wall. Like you get to see, and the one thing that gets me as Joe citizen when I hear people say this, when they kind of make fun this generalization of government, of government officials or elected officials or just employees of a government, those are actual people. Like those are your neighbors. Every person we met from day one are all people who generally go in and they're going to do the best they can at their job.
Absolutely.
They care. They want to do better. They want to see everybody improve. Nobody's there. You always hear this, who's getting money in the back pocket kind of deal. Like that doesn't really, I mean, it happens, don't get me
Yeah,
wrong, but that's
unfortunately.
not the general thing that you see in government and these places that you go. It's just like any of us. We want to go in, we want to do our job, and they're doing the best that they can with the opportunities that are given to them, and they want to see everything improve. Nobody wants to see anything fall through the cracks. And that goes from the governor down, to the local maintenance guy, whatever, school or wherever. These guys that all work for these government agencies, they want to see our parish and our local areas do as well as anybody.
Absolutely. When you go and you've participated in some of these things with Leadership Tangipahoa, what do you leave this this group with at the end personally? How does it contribute to your personal growth?
I felt it, and it was echoed throughout the year. We all feel hopeful. We feel excited.
Okay.
Especially locally.
That's great.
There's a lot of things going on, and there's a lot of things moving right now. There is some change in the parish in the last 2 or 3 years from different areas of leadership. Sometimes that's good, sometimes that's bad, but it seems like everyone is working together for the most part and trying to do what we can. From the state capitol, the one thing that was echoed throughout the day, and we meet from both sides of the aisle, everybody said everybody's getting along this session. It didn't matter if you were Republican, Independent, or Democrat. Everybody was trying to move everything forward.
Thank goodness.
And it's things that, here's one side that you don't get. So we talk about the governor. The governor's a Democratic ballot governor. His chief of staff is Republican. And nobody realizes that. Like, it's not always this battle going back and forth. And so when we look, like I said, when we started at parish government, we go all the way through it. Everything, somebody had something in the works, something new, something exciting. From North Oaks to the Tangipahoa Parish school system to everything, everybody had something going. And we're all hopeful, excited, and just like I said, we want to see where it's going to go in the next few years.
Right. Well,
So-
school board was another one of these things as well. And you
Correct.
guys got to experience the new superintendent last year
Yes.
in Melissa Stilley. So tell me about what your hope is in that area, just from kind of being in the business
Yeah.
here,
Well,
at Southeastern.
That's my other kind of, my heart is local on education. And when I say like we get to have these frank conversations, we met that morning with Melissa Steele and her staff, Assistant Superintendent Ron Jinko, Assistant Superintendent Byron Hurst, who's actually a Leadership Tangipahoa student this year, Brett Schneiderbach, who's in charge of their finances, and Miss Stilley, all sat in the chambers, and we sat there and talked. We actually missed one of our stops because we were all enthralled in this conversation on education. The biggest thing that I got from it, again, I'm very hopeful. Our education system locally is super underfunded. Probably, last I heard, we're either the last or second to last of the lowest funded per student funding in the state, period.
Yes.
That when you look at your tax forms, we only get 4 meals per student. And to see that our school board is doing that, and we're pretty middle of the road as far as our rankings. They've kind of changed that this past couple of years, but for the most part, for our rankings, we're pretty middle of the road for the last in funding. and we have growth in the parish, which is exciting, but there's an aspect of you got to pay the bills side of it too. And Ms. Stilley and her staff are doing a great job trying to get everything in the right direction. They're trying to be transparent as they can. They're trying to get the excitement back in education. This dark cloud that we've had, they're trying to get all that away and say, we have something great here. We want to see everything great. That's your root. Education, public education, and public funding is one of the root things that keeps a parish moving in the correct direction. When we talk about this thread that you see from Leadership Tangipahoa, I'm talking from day one meeting Robbie Miller at 8 o'clock that morning till leaving the state capitol. Every one of them had something to say about education. Every business, North Oaks, every new business that come in, we went to Interlocks, every one of them was talking about the question they get asked from either a outside business coming in, from one of their partner businesses, from their higher ups. How's the local education system? Mm-hmm. Is it good? Is it prospering? Do they fund it well? Every one of them was worried about that. And so to sit down and have a conversation with Melissa Stilley and her staff and say, this is our concern as a citizen, this is our concern as a class, we're excited about this, what are y'all doing? And she'll sit down and just tell you exactly what it is. They put all the funding on the board and said, this is where where funding's lacking. This is the changes that happened the last 5 or 6 years that people don't realize. That's the stuff these are the conversations you get to have with these individuals.
Well, let me just say this. One of the things that we talked about earlier in the show was that you guys had an opportunity to find something very specific and throw some money at it. Melissa Stilley, when she was on with me last year, explained that teachers still needed some help. Bus drivers were doing things like giving combs to students and things like that to help students with their hygiene. And right now, everything's on sale at Walmart.
That's right.
Every school supply you can think of is on sale at Walmart. So if you can sponsor a teacher right now, this is a great time to do it, and it not kill your pocketbook, but also give you some feel good. So
that's right.
Right now, if you can go and it's not just Walmart. Obviously, there's a ton of other stores that have all of their school supplies on sale. And if you'll go and sponsor a teacher, I'm sure that would be appreciated because we are still underfunded.
Here's the side that people don't realize too, is that there's these intangible items of you can buy glue sticks and pencils and those kind of things, but that's a moral, emotional support piece for the teachers. It says, hey, we're behind you, we're supporting you, and that trickles down to your students, to you kids, and to the other teachers. I have a friend of mine, as a math teacher, said the other day, she said, you'd be surprised how much somebody just giving me pencils means. Like just buying pencils. And
pencils are on sale.
Correct. For a few bucks. If you ever want to do something, and I guarantee if you give a teacher something, she'll find either, if she's not going to use it, which is rare, she's going to find somebody around that's going to use it. So those are the things that's where the excitement starts to trickle, and you start to hand off, and this little movement of passing on and seeing the growth in a parish.
That act of
kindness. It all starts with small stuff, and it ends up in the big side.
The act of kindness. That's what
right.
we need to do.
That's right.
All right. So this year's group, tell me about them.
I don't want to use everybody's name.
No, don't do that because you're going to forget.
That's exactly right.
And then I'm going to get a call.
That's exactly right. What I love about this group, and looking from other classes that I think is going to be dynamic about this group, one, it's one of our bigger classes. I think it's 24 of them. I think we had 23 or 24 last year. They're getting to a point that we're having to cap. This is the first time, and they've said, since I've been on the board, they've said in the history that they're almost kind of like capping people, saying, hey, we've got too many. So good. The word's getting out about how great the program is, and that's a good thing.
Good.
But this class, looking at it, and here's what everybody has to understand too. There are CEOs, CFOs, business owners, high administration people, and then they have, say, recent college grads. So they may be 2021 and they have more experienced, seasoned professionals in this group. And this group is a pretty dynamic, there's a large group of younger crew and a large, more experienced crew. And I think they're going to bounce off of each other well. That's one of my favorite things about that group, and you being with these other leaders in the parish. Some may not have these higher administrative roles, but everybody has a different aspect that they come from.
Sure.
A different outlook, different, whether it be age, whether it be economics, whether it be just your profession. You know, some come from the medical side and they see things a certain way. Some come from a business side, whatever it may be. Everybody's looking from a different angle, and nobody, at least in my class or I've ever heard, really is competing with each other. It's like, what all can we do to do something better? But this class is, like I said, it's a unique mix of young and old. I think it's the first time in a while that we've had about equal of male, female. And every one of them, the couple times that I've been around them, everybody's excited. It's like anything else, and they're excited about the program. The good thing about this too is everybody asked to do this. I understand from the Southeastern side and from the North Oath side, they usually only give 1 or 2 people a year, and they have multiple people coming in. They're almost having to like compete and say, no, I want to go. No, I want to go this year, and everybody's kind of competing with each other. So to see that and see the excitement that everybody wants to do something and be a part of it, it's great.
Right.
It really is.
Absolutely. Now, one last thing before we go. I promised you that we were going to talk about Miss Rosa before we left, because you said that you wanted to definitely express how much you love Miss Rosa.
That's right.
And she started Point of View. And we want to kind of give a shout out to Miss Rosa Dunn.
Well, so I came and did an interview with y'all last 2 weeks in the studio downstairs, and being part of the Ladies Top 28 and that kind of stuff, so where I got to know Miss Rosa. And then her daughter and I are in the same friendship circle and good friends. And she meant a lot to the program. She meant a lot to the community. She meant a lot to Southeastern in the KSLU community. Last year, and we kind of joke about it, last year the hurricane hit when I was supposed to interview for my class, so I actually had to do a phone-in interview and didn't get to come into the studio, but to be here and see that again, like I said, she is greatly missed, and like I said, again, a big friend, Leadership Tangipahoa, and again, as a community, we miss her tremendously.
We do miss Rosa Dunn. We absolutely
right.
do. So anytime I get an opportunity to
Love
say
her
how
to
much I
death.
love her, and I did a lot of work with options with her early in my career as well. So very wonderful woman and wonderful to.
She's one of those, it didn't matter if it was pouring down rain outside, she had the biggest smile on her face and would light up any room. So
absolutely.
Loved her to death. So.
Thank you for allowing us to talk about Miss Rosa.
Thank you for letting me
here on
bring it
Point
up.
of View.
Like I said, we love her.
Very good.
So.
And thank you for coming today.
Well, I want to, like I said, it's great to be
Enjoyed it.
back. I love to come back and see Southeastern. Great things we're doing here. Great things y'all are doing in the communication department, KSLU.
Thank you.
Southeastern Channel. It's exciting.
Very good. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining me. Please come again Thursdays and Fridays at 11 o'clock for your community's Point of View here on KSLU 90.9 FM.